Let's see if we can catch up with the continued effort by the right to use the fact that seemingly another insane Republican tried to take out Donald Trump. They want to use that to their advantage. Here's JD Vance.
And I know it's popular on a lot of corners of the left to say that we have a both sides problem. And I'm not going to say we're always perfect. I'm not going to say that conservatives always get things exactly right. But you know the big difference between conservatives and liberals is that no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this crap out. Somebody's going to get hurt by it, and it's going to destroy this country. Somebody is going to get hurt, and you think about what an incredible wound it would open up in the United States of America, all of us. And I promise I will do my part to tone down the rhetoric, but in particular, the people telling you that Donald Trump needs to be eliminated, you guys need to cut it out or you're going to get somebody hurt.
Okay, so there's a little bit there that we need to address. Let's start from the end. Those of you saying that Donald Trump needs to be eliminated, you need to stop it. And let me, John Iadarola, I will add to those calls. To all of those saying Donald Trump needs to be eliminated, you need to stop it. I don't know who you are because I haven't heard a single prominent Democrat or pundit say that. Kind of feels like he's making up a straw man, pretending that people are saying that because that makes his position more defensible.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
And so, yeah, that's not great. He said that because of these 2 attacks, it's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone it down. I don't understand the logic there. I don't know why 2 Republicans trying to take out a Republican is evidence that the left has to do anything. I constantly tell people not to engage in political violence. The issue here is that those Republicans are unlikely to be watching my content, but they might be watching yours. Maybe they listen to like Ted Cruz's podcast. Maybe they listen to Ben Shapiro. Maybe those sorts of people can stop encouraging people to lust for the blood of their political opponents. I also love his reference to someone is going to be hurt. Jesus, I mean, I know it's been a month or whatever, but a person already died during the first attempt. And that's how fast JD Vance forgot about that. That was quick. And I love when he's like, over the last no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris over the last few months. Well, that's a strong position you're coming from rhetorically, where you have to put the bounds temporally on it in that particular way. And that's because they know that there have been attempted assassins where people on their side have decided not to go after Donald Trump, and instead have gone after Democrats, like in the attack on Nancy Pelosi. Bear in mind, virtually everyone on the right was laughing uproariously over the fact that Paul Pelosi's skull was cracked open, including the family members of Donald Trump, including Donald Trump himself. And so this entire thing, like him saying, I will do my part, JR, to take down the toner of the rhetoric. He is in the middle of a multi-week conspiracy theory fest of trying to get people worked into a frenzy about migrants committing fictional crimes in Springfield. So I don't know, maybe we could start there in terms of doing your part and taking down the tone.
Exactly my point. No, exactly my point. Because look, he said, I'm gonna do my part. So if that, it sounds like an admission that you're doing something wrong as far as your rhetoric. As far as things that you're saying about folks that are in opposition to you, what are those parts? There's no specifics on those. Instead, it's a made up line about how people are then saying they need to eliminate Donald Trump. Again, like you said, who said that? Because again, he has been talking about going after, or at least this scourge of illegal immigrants in the city of Springfield, Ohio, which of course is also a lie as well. So he's pushing this lie constantly, even admitted, as we've seen, I'm sure you've covered this as well, admitted, I just make these things up so you guys can talk about it so that I can then make my final point, which is these immigrants are destroying our lives. No details of how they're destroying your lives because there's issues in that city that don't have anything to do with these kinds of immigrants, just an influx of people. So we have to eliminate those things because his major point is those others, they don't belong in this country. You know who really belongs in this country? Lily white folks that look and sound like me, even though many of them don't. Those are the real Americans. That's why there's things like the Real America's Voice, actual Americans, bring us back to where we used to be. There's a differentiation they have between who we are now and what they want us to be. And many of those folks don't vibe with what they want. So what part of your rhetoric, JD, is that you need to change? they never get to that because there's nothing actually wrong with them. They want to say, I'm trying to meet you guys in the middle. When? How? Where? Because your boss, the guy that you're the running mate of, he's talking about savages. He said they're coming for your daughters to rape and sodomize them. What kind of language is that?
Yeah.
And by the way, as this city has had to shut down hospitals and schools, elementary schools, and I think even a university or a college in the area has to shut down over these threats. His response to that was, we should ignore those. What we need to talk about is all the issues that Kamala Harris has with this immigration system, which, by the way, which part of the immigration system is Kamala Harris responsible for that you're talking about specifically with these Haitian folks that are there? It's a temporary protected status. I'm not sure if Kamala Harris was in the Senate in 1990 when the temporary protected status was put into place to protect folks that are fleeing countries where it's very unsafe. None of it has to make any sense just as long as the racism is still there.
100%. Exactly. Yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. He knows what they're all doing. Like, how many times have they decided, here is a random place or a random hospital or a random person. Let's go hard against them to get our base fired up, and oh, what do you know? Bomb threats are coming through. And they never back off because the bomb threats are not like an unfortunate side effect. That's what they want. They're engaged in rhetorical terrorism. That's libs of TikTok. That's Matt Walsh. They're not like, oh no, we've gone too far. That's what they're aiming for. And JD Vance is very much a part of that. And I want to focus on one other thing that he said. That clip that we showed, that's going around a lot. But he goes on to say, look, we can disagree with one another. We can debate with one another, but we cannot tell the American people that one candidate is a fascist. And if he's elected, it will be the end of American democracy. That is an interesting point from JD Vance, but maybe don't tell us that. Maybe tell this guy that.
Kamala Harris is the first major party nominee in American history who fundamentally rejects freedom and embraces Marxism, communism, and fascism. You're learning about this, you'll find out nobody knew who she was.
No, plenty of us know who she was. She was a national figure for a number of years. You should pay attention to what's going on in your country. But you'll notice there, he threw out the word that you're not allowed to say, according to JD Vance. He's done it many times, by the way. And look, I am willing to give Donald Trump a little bit of leeway when he calls someone a fascist, because there's no chance in hell he knows at all what he means when he's saying that. That's true of most people on the right. I think we can have higher standards for Democrats because most of them at least know what fascism is when they throw the term around. But I will say, to the idea that we should not call Trump a fascist, we should not label him a threat to democracy. Go screw yourself, JP Mandel and all the rest of you. If it's true, we're gonna say it. Well, I can't say we, I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm sure as hell gonna say it if it's true. If I believe that his worldview, his theory of government is inherently fascistic, I'm gonna continue to identify that. And if he's a threat to democracy, which he is, I will refer you to the coup that he launched, then I'm going to label him that. Okay, and I will do that while also continually, for years, continue telling people that political violence is never acceptable under any circumstances. But I have an obligation to the truth, and that is the truth. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?